Rayos alumbrados, comenzamos lentamente. Mueve, siente a toda la gente. Rayos alumbrados, comenzamos lentamente. Mueve, siente a toda la gente. Rayos alumbrados, comenzamos lentamente. No me digas que no puedes.
Hello everyone, welcome.
Te conozco.
Hello.
Caminando por la acera.
We'll wait again 2 minutes for everyone to join. Hope you enjoy the music.
No me digas que no puedes. Te conozco. Caminando por la acera. Sueños bravos. Mueve, siente a toda la gente. Rayos alumbrados, comenzamos lentamente. Mueve, siente a toda la gente. Rayos alumbrados, comenzamos lentamente. Mueve, siente a toda la gente. Rayos alumbrados, comenzamos lentamente. Mueve, siente a toda la gente. Rayos alumbrados, comenzamos lentamente.
Okay. Hello everyone and welcome. We will still wait for just a second for everyone to join. Welcome everyone. Super happy to. Thank you very much for the song. The ritual is that we will share a different song every month. It's also nice to start your Thursday with some groove. So let's start. Hello everyone. I know that for some of you, this is a new session, a new ritual. So welcome to Lemlist and Friends. Today we're going to walk you through the HubSpot integration. Once again, this is a partners only session, meaning that we will fully dedicate this training to you, agencies, growth, outbound, CRM, RevOps agencies working on Lemlist with HubSpot. So we'll start with a very short intro from myself, and then we'll have a technical and practical demo by Edward, who's our product manager here at Lemlist. And then we'll follow up with a Q&A and also exciting announcements to share. So stay with us. Just a quick word around Lemlist and Friends. As shared, this is a monthly product training that we started back in October. We have had a very good success around it, so we're super happy about it. The principle is really easy, is that every month you will get to meet a product manager from Lemlist to focus on a very specific topic. We've been going through AI variables, through intent signals, also through deliverability, through the clap integration as well. And lots of you have been asking for a focus on the HubSpot integration. So we will reveal all secrets today. And of course, you'll have the honor to meet Edward for this very practical session once again. Just to let you know, you can drop your questions in the chat. If we don't have time to answer to all of them, the ritual is that we answer asynchronously to everyone. We will share the slides and the recording, of course, and then of course we answer to any question you may have. We also have the chance to have Victor, who's in the chat as well. If you want to ask any question, he's here to help us answer them. Amazing. So now, Edouard, the floor is yours. I'll let you take it from there. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks, Julia, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Very happy to be here today. Julia said that you have the chance to meet me. I think it's more the reverse, because I guess a lot of you have more knowledge than me, because you have, I know there are different ICPs today, but I'm pretty sure you're pretty good already on what you do. So I'm very happy to meet you, and I hope I'll be at the level to answer your question and to present content which is not too obvious for you. I didn't introduce myself properly, but I'm working on the CRM integrations and contact management at Lemlist. So it's covering HubSpot integration, Salesforce integration, and overall how you can create accounts and contact in Lemlist. So this is it for the introduction, and I guess Julia, I will share the slide on my side. It's maybe better. Okay. So
Yeah,
let
sure.
me just
Go
do
ahead.
that, please. 1 sec, and we'll be good to go. Okay. So
Okay, perfect.
So very happy to talk about that. The first question I ask myself is, I can bring you interesting content, and how to have how to discuss something with a problematic, or a kind of how to bring that. Should I show you the whole HubSpot integration, how we do it step by step, like a user manual? I guess we are going to have a live demo, so I'm going to guide you through how we do things and what's the meaning of it. But I wanted to find a kind of better storytelling and how to navigate through the integration. And I think the obvious question, I heard it many times, is there an optimal setup for the lemlist and HubSpot integration? Like, is there something really that should be done to reach the best result regarding integration? I think the answer is yes. There is one, and I will show it during this time to you. And this is my viewpoint, because I guess your context is very different from context can vary, customers' needs can vary. So maybe you will consider it's not appropriate to you, and you will be right because you have better knowledge about your context. So it's a bit hard to answer that question, but I will still answer it, and then you have to take it with insight regarding your own situation. So that's why I answered yes, there is one, and but it depends on the specificities. Of course, you have specificities of the setup of your customer needs and etc. Yet, in my opinion, what I think is the ideal setup is that you should capture as much data as possible. And I'm telling you that because it's written on the slide, but it's a bit kind of a buzzword, but context is everything today. I'm telling that because of, with model context protocol, you can easily, plug something to your CRM and find the insights which are relevant for you. And for it to be even more relevant, they need more context. And so that's why I'm pleading for having the data as early as possible in your CRM. Some of you might say that they want to have only very, very mature leads, which are really interested and not before and stuff like that. And I understand, regarding context. Yet I think that as early as possible, having leads and contacts in the CRM is something which can make a difference, because you can find more insight about accounts and how they are responding regarding a deal or not. And I think that's very valuable. So this is the first point. The second point is about the ideal setup, which I'll show it to you during the demo time, is to use both lemlist integrated with HubSpot. As you do, we'll go through the settings, and the lemlist CRM extension, which allow you to use lemlist from HubSpot. So it's really it's very convenient, and it allows you to do a lot of actions that you don't need to switch tabs to do. And so I think this is a very good setup to have, because it brings you the data and actions you can do wherever you need it, and you don't need to switch and stuff like that. And third, it's a bit obvious, but still I'm mentioning it. It's about guaranteeing your CRM EGN. Sorry if my English is not perfect, but the idea is that sometimes a lot of issues are coming from the fact that what you have in your CRM is not super up to date. And so in that optimal setup, my viewpoint is that you need to, I think it's quarterly can be a good frequency, and to review the lead and the contacts you have in your CRM, so you can be sure about, to flag them. And we'll see later on exactly how we can do it. But so you have a better idea of what's inside your CRM, and you don't have a lot of data, which is at one given time later during the year, you have to clean, and it will have become too large. So this is, in my opinion, the elephant in the room, and these are broad guidelines to say what you should do. and we'll get into more detail on the following slide, which is so about syncing as early as possible. I think I mentioned that you have more context. About bringing it in your CRM, the question sometimes I'm asked for is what should be the identifiers I'm using, to bring my contact. Should be, whatever it is it email, LinkedIn, SalesNav, etc. I think the strongest is the email, but it might not be relevant. If you do only LinkedIn campaign and you don't need the email at the beginning, and you need only, you start with the LinkedIn and you enrich for email later on if you have an email step. You cannot create the contact early in your CRM with that info. But so that would be at least the recommendation, which is maybe obvious, but sometimes it's worth reminding it, is like not creating contacts only with like first name and last name in your CRM. Even if sometimes you can enrich a lot of things with Claire or Cargo or other tools to find contacts at companies you are searching to convert. In my opinion, it's creating a lot of difficulty. We have the same at lemlist. First name and last name and company name are identifiers which are relatively weak, and which I'm considering, not using any longer, or allowing in lemlist, because it's creating like a lot of issues for our users. And also having like all the contacts as early as possible in the CRM can bring you some visibility. So I don't know if this is very relevant for all of you, because depending on what you do and what's your activity, but it gives more visibility to what you are currently doing. So for instance, if you're an agency that do outreach, maybe you are, I guess your objective, your outcome is to have a deal closed, but maybe you have more like top of the funnel also analytics to provide to your customer, and having those in your CRM can allow you to be more to have a stronger storytelling if it's relevant. So this is the first step. I see that it's 11:42. I have 25 minutes overall. I think we started at 30, so I should not talk too much to have time for the demo. Just to keep that in mind. I think I will talk and go through my slides, but if you have like very relevant question, I'm checking the chat, and I'm more for like, for you to interrupt me if it's relevant than not. So don't hesitate to post question here. If I don't see it, we'll take it later on. We have a Q&A time dedicated for that, so it will be also a time to do it. About the optimal setup, second point. So I mentioned it earlier, but the lemlist extension is very convenient. So you can be working in HubSpot, and you can see all the contacts you already have in lemlist. Then you can open it, and I'll show it to you live during the demo time. And you can add people to campaign. You can do a lot of things from here. So it's something I recommend highly, because it's bringing you flexibility. And for your customers, it can be very convenient to have like not to switch, and to have like separate environments. Today it's overlapping. I think we are working on making it like pushing the CRM window on the left, so it's really like on the same sorry, on the same window. It will be even more viewable and easy to use. Okay, this one I guess might be done by 80% of you, importing active lists. I mentioned contact list or segments because the name changed in HubSpot relatively recently. But this is something very convenient so you create your own segments, very often it's active segments, but can be static, but you create your own active segments in HubSpot, and then you pull it, or you push it in campaign, or you pull it from campaign. And so what it does allow you to have is to have like campaigns which are fed with new contacts which are relevant and identify as such in your CRM, and push into lemlist and get engaged into campaign. I can go through all of that when we go in the demo. So I think this is already used by many lemlist teams, but worth reminding. Yes, so this question is sometimes I'm asked about task, and if you should recreate a kind of automation on your side to manage task and to do it. because it can give you more granularity. In my opinion, it's a lot of work and maintenance for your automations to create this task outside of lemlist. And so I wouldn't recommend to have like something really on the side to handle that. So in my opinion, you really have to use task management in lemlist, which is relatively easy to use and which manage a lot of different type of tasks. And so yeah, that's more like a recommendation about not what to do. And this one we mentioned it. So really it's relatively obvious, but depending on your context, you might not have everything, but email is really a kind of very strong identifiers, and LinkedIn URL and SalesNav URL. For the company, the domain, in my opinion, is the first one. But maybe the more important is to quarterly check, what you have in your CRM and remove or flag. So you have like batch of contact, why they are here, what they were used for, did they answer or not, and so you can easily manage like large volume of contacts in your CRM. So the recap quickly before going through the demo time is that one. So in my opinion, you should send the lead ASAP in HubSpot, so you have everything and you have a lot of context. Use the lemlist extension on HubSpot as well, because it brings you flexibility about how you want to work and what you see from the same view in HubSpot. You can see lemlist and take action, engage into campaign, and see like contact activities, even if you have the timeline in HubSpot as well. But I think it's worthwhile. You have the task, and it's something which is very convenient. Import active contact list or segments in lemlist campaigns. I think it's already done already, but it's very easy, and we are working. I will go through the release. We are working toward at the end of this presentation, but we are moving it as well in the contact list and in the company list. So you won't be only able to do it in campaigns, but also before as well in lemlist if you need it for your needs. And don't recreate a task system. That's something tricky, and I think it's very much more straightforward to use the lemlist task management. And this is more like a good practice about cleaning your HubSpot contact quarterly. But I think all of us are aware that the CRM hygiene is super important and complicated as well when you have, depending on the size of the team, the history of the CRM, but it's a key factor. Okay, so this is the demo time. So I think it will be easier if I'm sharing my screen on lemlist, and I will put myself in the context of really having to set it up from scratch, because I think we can go through several cases which are useful. So I will disconnect everything and then reconnect everything. Okay, so very, very obvious, but in case, I'm just checking, yeah, I'm on the right team, so that's okay. In case you want to do the integration, and to integrate HubSpot into lemlist, you have to go into the settings here, and then connect HubSpot. So go into integrations and connect HubSpot. This first connection is important because it's required by only one member of your team, and through this connection, we'll see it later, we'll go all the API calls we do to connect to HubSpot. And so it's not an action that everyone needs to do. So on my team, it's an internal team for tests. So we are very few. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5 users, and I will do it only on my behalf, and it will serve for all of them, even if they're not very active, because I'm playing with them to run tests and test features, etc. So here you connect. So one member of your team is connecting. It's not asking for my credentials because I'm connected on the side to HubSpot, but if not, it would ask for it. So then you have to choose your account. This will be the account all your lemlist data will be sent to. So I'm selecting this one because I'm the most active on the developer test account one. And then it's closing, and I'm connected at the user level in a way. So you can see it's connected here. And then I can go do the sync settings for my whole team, my whole lemlist team. So Now we have a sync your CRM entry that appeared in the left menu. And I can go and select HubSpot here, and I reach like the general settings for the integration. Okay, so here the first action is I have to select here the organization for the account, which is important for me. Here I just have one user connected, but if in my team several users connected, maybe I would have something different. So maybe if they connected on different HubSpot accounts, I would have like a different account ID with the user, which might be different before after. But in my case, we just saw together, I connected only once. So I have one account ID and one user, which is what I'm aiming for. You can connect only on one account ID anyway. So this is the account ID it will be synced to, and this is the connection that it will be used to sync your data and exchange between lemlist and Salesforce. Sorry, HubSpot. Okay, here you have to define your default owner. So that's something we are going to clarify in the coming weeks to put all this ownership in the user mapping section here, because here we do a lot of actions which are done together, but could be even more clarified. You selected this default user, so through which all API calls will go, and which will be as well the default user on which the ownership will be mapped in lemlist. If you send someone for your CRM which is not mapped in the user mapping we are going to see. So this is for the direction HubSpot to lemlist, and this one is for the direction lemlist to HubSpot. Like for instance, in lemlist, if you have a sales rep which are the owner of contact, which are not mapped in HubSpot on the user mapping, we'll use me here to put the ownership in HubSpot. So default user, it's CRM to lemlist. Default owner, it's from lemlist to CRM, and soon it will be in the user mapping and even more obvious, so to ease your configuration setup. Okay, so now you have this is a very important option, is to decide if you want to create the new contact and companies that are created in lemlist and to push it in your CRM. So it really depends on how you work. If you don't want lemlist to create anything in HubSpot, you will let it like that. So you toggle it off. If you, for instance, a very common use case is to work from LinkedIn or SalesNav on accounts to find contacts there and to bring it into lemlist. And then when it's brought into lemlist, you want to push it to your CRM. In that case, you toggle on this setup of this option of creating contacts and companies in HubSpot if they are not here. And you have to choose a trigger when you want to do it. So you can decide, okay, as soon as this contact is created in lemlist, I want to push it to my CRM. Or you can choose a later trigger when they are launched in campaign, when message is sent, etc. So that's this drop-down content is very relative to what I mentioned earlier about, when should you push contact into your HubSpot. In my opinion, I think the earlier the better. So that's why I'm advocating for when they are created or updated in lemlist. But given your context, if you have a context or a customer, you tell you, I just want to have like very mature leads in my CRM and nothing before, you will be more about when they are marked as interested, because it's really like the ultimate step in a way in lemlist, and that will be the more mature lead you can have. So this is a very important settings. If you want, for instance, to push only leads, contact from HubSpot to lemlist and to lemlist not to create anything, you can toggle it off and the sync will work. We will sync lemlist contact with HubSpot contact and companies as well. But we won't create, so you don't have any risk of creating new records in your CRM. These are more like advanced settings. We'll move as well. We are revamping the UX in an advanced settings tab, because today it's like it can be a lot to do when you just start, but this is to define mandatory properties. So you can say, okay, I don't want companies created in my CRM. So let's say, yes, I want to create companies, contact and companies, and I don't want to have it if I don't have a domain, So you can guarantee in a way your CRM hygiene, because these records won't be created because they are lacking key properties. You can do the same for contact, like I don't want contact without email. If you are like very, very strict on your, that's how you want to define it for yourself, you can do it here. You can also like do group conditions. I won't go through it, but you can totally do a lot of different mixes. This is to define default properties. So default properties is very often used to define the source of record. Even if, you know, in HubSpot, it's relatively well documented. Sometimes people want to have like a custom property. So for contact, you can say, okay, maybe I have an example I can show you. What these ones are generally, I don't know if it's an internal property, this one record source, but you can say, okay, this one is on a lemlist, you know. And so you will always have, when a new record is created, that value defined. That's how it's used mainly. You can do it for contact, company, and deal as well. Okay, so time is flying. I'm talking a lot and maybe too much. I'll try to be synthetic. So this is the general settings. We saw a very important option. It's key here. And my recommendation is about, you know, doing it as early as possible if your context is allowing you to do it. Then about the field mapping. So field mapping is really saying, okay, I have a record property in my HubSpot. I want to set it to lemlist. And, you know, it's mapping one-to-one. So these ones are done for you by default, you know, first name, last name, email, all of this. And by default, the sync between lemlist and HubSpot is bidirectional. So it's, you know, it means that we can pull data from HubSpot and push data to HubSpot. So for first name, like it means that if you sync a contact, which is named David, and you change his name to Davide 2 weeks after in your CRM, it will be pushed to lemlist. And if in lemlist, for whatever reason, you rename it Robert, it will be pushed as Robert to your CRM. So that's why bidirectionality means. By default, it's bidirectional. The large majority of our customers is keeping it like that, bidirectional. Sometimes, and it's a need we have heard in the recent weeks, and that will go through in the next release. But what we want to do is to allow you to choose the direction for the different steps, like creation and update, because it's not the same. Maybe you want to allow lemlist to do everything at creation, you know, because we push a new contact. So of course we need to, and we create it, we need to be able to fill his information, but you don't want lemlist to touch any contact existing because you have done a lot of cleaning and enrichment with other tools, and it's already good. And for that, we'll make it evolve so you can split, you know, the timing of creation and update. But today, these two are the same. So some customers modified key information which they don't want. So they put, for instance, HubSpot priority. If I put the HubSpot priority, it means that my phone number will be never modified by lemlist, and it can only be pushed from HubSpot to lemlist. So that's how some people are adjusting it to really preserve, in a way, some key information they never want to see changed in CRM. So the field mapping is for contacts and companies. Here you have the rules, and we'll make it more obvious, but reminding you how we search and connect, and then create for contacts and companies, you know, which are the identifiers we go through. So these are for contacts and companies. So we saw general settings about creating or not, allowing lemlist to create contacts and companies in your CRM. Field mapping is about, okay, I want to sync a record, and these are the detailed property I want to sync. This lemlist is corresponding to this HubSpot. The user mapping is a very important step, especially in your context, if your customer is growing or is having a new member on the team and adding new people in lemlist, for instance, or in HubSpot. The issue we have more often is like new users are added in lemlist and they are not mapped to a HubSpot counterpart. And then it's creating ownership misunderstanding, because as I mentioned, when it's not mapped, we are using the default owner. So we are pushing your CRM on behalf of the default owner. and it can create some misunderstanding. So really, it's key here. On my account, it's easy because I have few lemlist users and they are already mapped. But if I add a new one, on the cockpit, it won't be done automatically. That's something I think would be very valuable, and that I'm considering, because if it's the same email between lemlist and HubSpot, that could be something we could do, and to avoid any issues when the team are growing. But so far it's still manual, so very important to map users one-to-one. And activities here, it's to choose what you want to receive in your CRM. So by default, everything is activated, and here it's hard to have a recommendation about what you should deactivate, or it's really if you don't want, you think it's too much noise. It's very contextual. I told you my recommendation is to receive everything and then to have more context and to be able to interrogate, to query it and gain insight from it. But I understand that sometimes you don't want everything, but that's a very personal choice from your customer choice, I mean. And then this is the logs. So these logs are showing everything which go through the CRM integration, and it's very important to troubleshoot. And that's something which is useful, so you can find which are let's say the state is more about error or done or pending stuff. This is more about what is done, is it a contact creation, is it a contact update or company update? But a little bit of teasing, this is okay, but this is not super clear. I mean, we are working toward providing you more information about what goes through each action. So because we are conscious that some actions are not super clear, and we want to make it as transparent as possible, especially for you, because you need to have that clarity to be able to troubleshoot by yourself, and it's very key. So we are week after week bringing more details in the logs. So everything is centralized here, and then you have details. But what we want to do is to really bring it on the contact and company level. So you don't have to go through all the logs, but you could, for instance, go on this profile and check on activities. I don't have the definitive UX, but filter on CRM logs and then have all the activities shown here. And very convenient to have everything grouped by record, either contact or company, and not have to go in the logs here, because this entity, you don't have it. You show it on my screen because I'm an admin of lemlist. But here I can search contact and companies, but you can't. And that's something that I'm aware that we need to bring it to you. So I think we'll bring it through the contact and company panel. Okay, this is going through the integration. I think I won't go further. Yes, I have one thing I need to go further, sorry. So we connected one user in the integration, and through this user, we have done all the setting of the integration for the whole team. Okay, that's super cool. The only thing which remains at the campaign level is the deal creation, because this is something that, depending on the campaign you do, you want to create deal or not. And so something you have to do again and again is deciding how you want to create deal. So for instance, you have to go on the campaign settings and here on CRM integration to decide if you want to create deal when a lead is marked as interested or when a new task is created in lemlist. And new task, it can be set on creating a new task when people reply or when they click on a link. So you can have, as soon as someone is replying, okay, I have a new deal created. So that's something which is very convenient. Then you have your deal in HubSpot. Then it can be a deal closed or a close lost, but close success or close lost, but you have the information. This is something important and which needs to be done at the campaign level. So with that, I think I will keep time for the Q&A if you have more questions, so we can get back into the environment and answer it. But I won't talk more about how to go through and how to do things. I will get back to the slides because I have two more. I think I have a few more to show you. So this is the demo time. I hope it was clear. Sorry, I'm a bit sick, so I have nose. My voice is talking from the nose, as we say in French. It's not best experience. I hope it was okay. So Here I have two FAQ, but I already mentioned it, so it will be quick for the first one. So the first one is when to create a deal in HubSpot. That's a question I have sometimes. My answer is that as soon as a lead answer, it's very convenient to have all that data in your CRM, so you can monitor, you can re-engage, close lost. You have the close lost, you have the reason, bad timing, etc., etc., and then you can re-engage those customers. They already know you, so you started creating in a relationship, if you can name it like that, and so that can be valuable information. So that would be my recommendation regarding deal creation in your CRM. Second aspect, and it would be more elegant like that. Sorry for the recording. It's a question I have sometimes. It's about the lead object in HubSpot. So, it's a very common question. Is lemlist working with the lead object? The answer is no. Lemlist is working with the contact object in HubSpot. And I think it's a bit contextual, because when to be transparent, when we launched the integration, the integration was launched like a few years ago, and then we revamped it a few quarters ago, and the lead object was not like very, very frequently used in HubSpot, so that was not a major concern for our customers. So that's why we made it synchronized contact lemlist with the HubSpot contact. As of today, I understand it's growing, so that's something we are reconsidering. So, to see if we can, adapt to main practice. But really today, when we talk, like as of February, you cannot do it, but you can, in my opinion, have a very similar outcome by syncing contact very early. You enable all the activities tracking, and you create deal, as I mentioned, as early as possible. And in a way, you have all the information that a lead is allowing you to have. I understand that there is less conveniency about sometimes the lead status and the history, but I get through the activities, you have a somewhat similar level of data, which is allowing you to track through time different contact engagements and answer to your outreach. This is something I prepared for today. I think we've been through, I have the roadmap slide, and then maybe the last FAQ before, it's sometimes I'm asked, if my customer only wants very mature lead or contact, sorry, I'm mixing the two terms, but for me they are very similar. In my CRM, how do I do it? Well, in that case, if you want to have only very qualified contacts, you use that trigger when they are marked as interested. So it's really, when a contact in a campaign in lemlist is marked as interested, either automatically, we have seen in the campaign settings, or maybe manually by a sales rep, when he's making a phone call or everything. You use that setup, and then you cross it with the trigger in the campaign, create deal when a lead is marked as interested, and that should do it like that. So I have one more slide. Julia, I don't know if I go through it about the roadmap overview. If you want to first take questions, just tell me, and so I respect the plan for this lemlist conference.
No, that's fine. I think partners are also super excited to discover more about the roadmap. Promise, we've received a couple of questions, so we will have time to review them. If you can take 5 minutes if you want for the roadmap.
Okay, cool, thanks. Okay, let's go through it. So about the roadmap overview, first disclaimer, it's hard to provide a roadmap on 12 months. But I think we are all in the same situation. What will happen in 12 months, given what's changing, is difficult. So my roadmap is not a 12-month roadmap. It's a next after. So next is, let's say, I think next is more or less Q1 and early Q2. And after is something, we'll do it later on. So it's a Q2 or it can be a Q3, depending on the size of what we have here. So really something you can expect in the next weeks, and this one is a major one. It's about today the integration is not working with bulk API calls. It's working with API calls. It's working well, but it can be faster if we were to bulk everything before doing the calls to HubSpot, and that's what we are doing currently. We're currently bulking everything. The create contact and companies is bulk. We are doing the updates right now, and when we will have finished all of that, the sync speed would be relatively way better than what it was before. Already, today it's already a few minutes, so it's not so bad. Sometimes it's really instant, but it can be improved, and that's why we are doing that. There is a notion that exists in HubSpot we don't have in lemlist today. It's the no owner, so it's really about being able to say, okay, my contact is owned by no one, because I don't want to do contact hoardings, so the sales rep don't put contacts on the site for them. So that's a notion that does exist natively in HubSpot, and that we are not handling it in lemlist. So we are currently rolling it out. So you'll be able to match your no owner in HubSpot with no owner in lemlist, and we'll stop defaulting on the default user and the integration. So it's a lot of technical term, but we saw at the beginning, if you send someone which is not mapped in your CRM to lemlist, we default. So if you had no owner in lemlist in HubSpot and you send it in lemlist, we are using the default user of the integration. So maybe David and not the no owner value. So this is something we are going to change, so you can have a one-to-one match between the no owner in HubSpot and in lemlist. What I mentioned earlier is also importing HubSpot segments directly in the contact and company section. Today, if you want to import segments, you have to go through a campaign. So you have to be here, you go in campaign, you create a new campaign, and in lead list, you do import your leads from a CRM here, and then you can select a contact list, which is fine. Yet, if you want to start differently, if your workflow is not exactly that one, for instance, we have few customers who really want to do account-based in lemlist. So when they want to start with the companies, and really say, okay, I have my targets for the quarter, and then I want to find contacts and then outreach to them. Today, you cannot import new companies from your CRM. So that's what it will change. It's really, you'll be able to import new companies here or a new contact, and you won't have to go through a campaign to do it. So today you can do it going through a campaign. You can create a dummy campaign, import a lot of contact, and it will create it in your contact section, but it will be more convenient to have a straightforward link. What you will soon be able to do is to import your contact, select CRM, and then it will create a contact list here linked to your CRM contact list or segment. Okay, about contact segmentation, which is key, what we are doing is that we are bringing company data in the contact section. Today, these two sections are separate. So if you say, okay, cool, I want to segment my contact with company field, you cannot do it today. You have the company name, which is great. You have a few filters about companies, but it's not exactly segmentation. You can choose current company or belongs to a company list. But tomorrow, what you'll be able to do is to have all your default company field or custom company field in the contact section as well. So you can filter by those and create better segments, and really have you can select contact and then push it to campaign. That will be easier work to create contact list and then outreach. We are also creating 2 new endpoints on the API for creating contact and company, or updating as well. That should be live relatively soon. I think in 2 weeks it should be on. So today you can add lead to campaign in the API for those who use a lot of the API, but tomorrow you'll be able to create contact and company directly as well, and very convenient. For instance, for what we mentioned about account-based with the past company. A little bit further down the road is about splitting what we mentioned earlier, splitting the sync for create and update. Because if you have if you want to guarantee your CRM gen, it can be very convenient. So you really know what will happen at which time. So that's a feedback we had. So we are working on it. Bring logs to contact and company panel. For you, I think it will be even more important because it will bring you more clarity about what has happened and very, very easy to troubleshoot with that in comparison with what we have today. Something which is missing and that we are hearing a lot is today we have contact status here, but the contact status is not linked to what happened in a campaign. So it's really something which you can do manually, which is used by some teams, and it's okay. But what's coming down the road is to link this contact status with the lead status. So okay, Quentin is in a campaign and he has answered an email. So given his action in a campaign, the contact status is changed, and then the contact status can be mapped with the CRM, with the HubSpot contact status as well. So it's really about status or life cycle. It depends how you name it. Today, duplicates management is something which cannot really be done in lemlist. If you have, for instance, two contacts created, you want to merge it, you want to reassociate it to the right CRM ID, you cannot do it. We want to enable you to be able to do it. That's a key point we want to do later on. And as well, we have a lot of feedback about the pick list mapping between lemlist and HubSpot. So how can I, for instance, for industry, that's relevant for like company size, how can I map my lemlist value with my CRM value? Today you cannot, and we want to enable you to do it because it's very convenient, and if not, you have to be very cautious about the value sent, and it can be a bit tedious to do it. I think that's the last point of the roadmap overview for the what's coming, like short term or more medium to long term. Well, I hope it's medium term. And that's it. So very happy to, I hope I've been clear enough. Didn't lie to you at the start. I said, you know a lot, so I hope I will be at the bar. So I hope I was, and happy to answer your question if you have any.
Thank you very much, Edouard. It was fantastic, actually. We had quite a lot of reaction in the chat and also questions. So if you'd like, we can move to the next slide just to illustrate this step now. I suggest we take the first one that we received from the Lemlist and Friends Slack channel. I will translate that into English. As we know, partners are managing Lemlist workspaces from their admin seats. The question is, as an admin seat, can I create and synchronize HubSpot to each workspace from my agency admin seat, or should I impersonate a client to do so? Please let me know if the translation was clear.
Yes, I understand. I think it's, I hope I will answer to the point. So if you go here, I think you need to impersonate. I think you need to answer straight away. You need to impersonate your customer because we saw in the settings here that you need to connect one HubSpot at the user level that will be used for the team. So you cannot be like me, Edouard, connected to one organization. As you can see here, it will go, this connection is transversal to your team, to all your team. So here to show you, to illustrate my point, I'm connected to HubSpot on my HubSpot main team. But if I'm switching on my Salesforce main team, you will see that I'm still connected to HubSpot. This is the same connection. Which is here. So it means you cannot connect yourself to different organization and account. So you will have to impersonate your customer. So you can impersonate your customer on one team and connect him on HubSpot to his organization, and it will be the right organization and right user to make the API calls. And then you impersonate and connect the second of your customer on another team. And so you cannot do it yourself for all your customers. I hope I'm clear. I'm not sure I'm answering straight, but I can take it later on.
Yes, I had confirmation from the partner. So thank you, Edouard. We had another question. Same thing, translation skills. So do we have an existing synchronization between the status, the contact status, so not the lead status, and the lifecycle stage in HubSpot?
No, there is not. That was really my point about something we want to do later on. But today, you have your status, and it's living in lemlist, the contact status, and it's not sync, and you cannot sync it to HubSpot. So what you can do if you want to update the lifecycle status in HubSpot is to have an automation on the so either it's an automation native in HubSpot or you do it with another tool, but to say, okay, when the lead list, the lead status, so for instance, this one, reach a given state, then I update the lead, the lifecycle, in HubSpot with a given value. But it's not today, it's not sync, so you have to do it through an automation on your side.
Okay, same confirmation, that was clear. Thank you, Edouard. Okay, another question that we have now is, when is the Pipedrive integration available? Because yes, we talk about HubSpot, but Edouard works on all integrations, so I'll let you take this one.
That's a very good question. We want to move on as soon as possible on it. I think the question, the underlying meaning of the question is, when do you bring the existing Pipedrive integration at the same levels on HubSpot? Because what we have today is that we have it's already existing, but it's really like a kind of legacy integration for Pipedrive. It's not legacy, it's working, but not as the same as HubSpot and Salesforce. And so about roadmap, I did not mention it because it was Pipedrive, but my objective is to start it on Q1. I'm not sure it's gonna land on Q1 because it's not a small work, but it will likely land during Q2. So if you're looking for a time frame, it's a Q2 time frame that it's up and running at the same level of HubSpot and Salesforce.
Okay, thank you very much, Edouard. Another question that we had is there a perspective to push lemlist lead scoring to HubSpot so we can add it to HubSpot scorings?
Yes, this is about, if I'm correct, really about this, Sorry, where is it in the dashboard, in the hotlit? Sorry, we are mentioning the score, this score.
Yes.
Yes, that's something I heard in the past. We had many stuff to prioritize to maintain, so that has not been done. I know you met Etienne a few weeks ago, Etienne Desbrières working on signals, and I think he's considering bringing signals into the score, so it's more relevant. This score, I think, does not take into account signals as of today. And it's a different question, but to tell you about how we could do it is to have the signals brought into it, so it's really relevant and up to date, and then allow the sync with the CRM. So yeah, it's a topic I regularly have feedback about, but which is not in my short-term roadmap, but that could become, when we sync with Etienne and we move on. But it's not something really planned as of today.
Thank you. By the way, we always send a feedback form after the session, so feel free to add any insights, any requests that we should take into consideration and that you see that have a huge impact on your clients, because we share the same clients, so I guess we want to go the same way. I suggest we take one final question before we move on with the wrap-up. The last question is maybe more for salespeople, but do you have documentation in the format of a battle card, for example, to handle the objection HubSpot sales sequences versus lemlist? This objection opposes HubSpot sales enterprise license with lemlist. Just a disclaimer here, because we had no and will never have any intention to compete with the CRM. We're really embedded with the CRM ecosystem overall. But indeed, whenever there are some objections, in that case, yes, we can provide these types of information to assist you in pitching to your client, for instance, or to bring clarification. I don't know if, Edouard, you want to add something to that point?
No, sorry, the question was super long, and to be honest, I didn't understand it. I think it's about handling customer arguments for a solution versus another one.
Yes.
But yeah, I will be happy to provide the content and to enrich the content if necessary, but I don't have more to add as of today.
Okay, no worries. Maybe just one last question, actually, because it was pushed and wanted to be asked. Can you remind me what's the difference between a lead and a contact in lemlist?
Yeah, I can. So in lemlist, you have a contact. So just to bring a bit of context quickly, in lemlist, everything started with leads. At the beginning, you had only campaigns. Maybe some of you know that before, better than me, because maybe you use lemlist for like few years, and so that's something very obvious. But we had only campaigns, and you were able to have lead list here, and there are not. Well, sorry, this one is empty. It's not a good example, and that's it. What we then did is that we linked someone in a campaign to a contact. So really, a contact is like the same as in LinkedIn. Okay, so there is let's say LinkedIn people, it's becoming a lemlist contact, and then when a lemlist contact is in a campaign, it's becoming a lead. And so here, Albin can be a lead in one campaign, another lead in another campaign. It can be a lead n times, and that's how we structure it. And the sync is happening at the contact level and company level. Yet we monitor the various lead data. For instance, if you look in the contact filters, you have a section which is named completed field, and these completed fields are engagement data. So for instance, one which is used a lot is active in campaign. So this one is checking is at least one lead, because you can have campaigns which are crafted but not sent, active campaign or ended campaigns. But we check that there is at least one lead belonging to, for instance, Albin that is active. And if it's the case, then it's a true. If not the case, it's a false. And the same for all the data we have here. So really it's a contact and leads attached to the contact, and then contact associated to its primary company that you can find here. When you use the contact panel, you can see for this contact that it has an associated company you can find here.
Okay, super helpful. Thank you, Edouard. Perfect. So I suggest that we wrap up this session. I have some exciting news to share. If you can go on to the next slide, please.
Of course.
And the next again, thank you. Okay, so as usual, we're happy to send you the slides and the recording right away on Slack. It's also a good opportunity for us to announce the next Lemlist and Friends sessions. You haven't met Clémence yet. Clémence is responsible for our multi-channel integration and features within Lemlist. We have very, very exciting updates and training in preparation for you on March 10th. And we will focus on April on a more practical and more coaching aspects of these enablements with Victor on training you on how to become an outbound expert. Just so you know, we are also trying new things here. We're super happy whenever partners are sharing on LinkedIn about what they learned from their Lemlist and Friends sessions or from the program overall. So we're happy to reward that with 2,000 credits to anyone who's posting on LinkedIn regarding this specific session and share on what you learned and what you just discovered this morning with us. So yeah, we will send recording slides right away. You'll receive the next invitation for the training session for March in the next days. We're right on time, which is wonderful. It's time for us to go for a lunch in France, but I know that many partners joined from across the Atlantic, even from Asia. So thanks a lot for connecting with us today. It was always a pleasure. It's like my favorite time of the month, for being honest. So mostly thank you, Edouard, for your time and for this super insightful presentation and training. I guess that's it. I think I have a final slide. And I believe I forgot to put the music on this one, but I know that you liked it, so I will share that on Slack as well. Thank you, everyone, and have a very nice day. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. I hope I was relevant, and thanks for having been there.
Thank you, Edouard.